Two poor Filipino prodigy sisters from Cavite land in Los Angeles with one violin case wrapped with old Scotch tape, one cheap Chinese violin with scratches on the varnish, and zero sense of how big Hollywood actually is until they get here. They still smell like the small bakery next to their small rented room in Cavite because that bakery was where they practiced outside every night when store closed, because that was the only place they could echo loud without neighbors complaining. When they walk inside AGT backstage for the first time, they look at LED walls, giant robotic camera cranes, huge industrial lighting rigs, and they freeze like this is space. Their shoes are not performance shoes. Their outfits are not designer outfits. They look like two kids who borrowed clothes from their cousin for school graduation. But the way they gently hold the violin case, looks like they are holding a living animal that they protect like life. When they walk to the stage and Simon asks them what they are going to perform and they say, Vivaldi Winter, the entire room reacts like, oh, classical. And people think this will be slow, elite, boring, too sophisticated for TV and not viral. They think classical duo will not trend on TikTok. They think America wants pop belting or shock EDM or huge dance pyro. But the second they lift their bows and the first stroke strikes the strings, the air changes like cold storm inside Dolby Stage. Every pluck has weight. Every tremolo has urgency. The micro-precision on their articulation feels like a war movie trailer. The theater turns into a winter battlefield. The judges literally lean forward. Heidi's face reacts like she is suddenly watching a cinema trailer. Sophia puts her hand on Howie's wrist. Simon freezes because the texture coming out of two Filipino girls sounds like 18 conservatory-trained first chairs layered at once. Audience members start putting phones down because they actually want to physically feel this piece, not through screen, not through TikTok, not through clipping. They want raw sound. The sisters barely look at each other. They read each other's breath like telepathy. They end the final attack like an orchestra. Dead silent pause. Then explosion of cheering. Simon smiles, small slow short smile, which is the rarest Simon expression. He tells them, you two just created a moment I will remember forever. People in theater stand. People in back row go nuts. Everyone cannot believe two small Filipino girls just turned Baroque music into national TV emotional earthquake. Backstage interview becomes the real nuclear bomb of virality. Because they are not trying to act American. They are not trying to pretend. Their English is broken but pure. They talk slow and shy. They say, Mama said, talent is not about being rich, talent is what God gifted us, and we just have to honor that. We want to show Philippines that classical music is also beautiful, and Filipinos can be world-class in this too. This clip becomes the part that goes insane on TikTok. It hits 22.5 million views in 36 hours. Classical professors in Europe repost this clip and write, this is what music used to feel like. Anime soundtrack composers repost. Spotify classical community repost. Suddenly two unknown sisters from Cavite, who were literally practicing outside a bakery to avoid complaints, become global conversation. Filipino classical community online cries because finally representation is not pop belting or karaoke meme stereotype, but true prestige artistry. They become the story that breaks all narrative patterns on AGT. They become the new blueprint that even classical can out-viral every genre when delivered with raw human heart. The training montage for the two Filipino Prodigy sisters becomes the spine of the AGT season arc. America starts wanting to know how exactly two kids from Cavite can play Vivaldi Winter like they are top-tier Juilliard elite warrior violinists. The documentary team visits them in the small LA motel room they are staying in. They practice in the motel bathroom because it has natural reverb like a cave. They practice in the laundry room at midnight because nobody is there and it sounds like an abandoned warehouse film set. They practice in the parking lot with cars passing because discipline is not optional for them. They do not have expensive classical teacher. They do not have expensive violin technician. Everything they learned is from YouTube recordings, slow speed playback, and trial and error. Their mom sits on motel bed folding socks while they rehearse. She is smiling small but there is deep pain behind her eyes because this is not vacation, this is the absolute last risk the family can take financially. If this fails, they have nothing left. But the girls are not rattled. They are laser. They want to change the world narrative. Filipinos are not only pop singers, dance crews, or vocal belting. Filipinos can be classical world builders. They decide for semi-finals they will evolve Vivaldi Winter. Winter has 3 movements. They take part 2 but redesign the structure to fuse with a small Filipino kulintang percussion cultural element. Their reasoning is so simple and so genius. Winter is cold white Europe. Kulintang is warm Southeast Asian earth. They want to show that classical isn't owned by one continent. Classical is human ancestral universal. When this concept leaks on Reddit classical subs, America goes feral with speculation. People say, if they pull this fusion off clean, this could be one of the greatest AGT music moments ever. They rehearse this transition hundreds of times in bathroom, cars, parking lots, hallway. Every bow angle is microscopic. Every pluck has military detail. Mama says quietly one night, "This is destiny." And the girls just quietly nod. Semi-finals night arrives, an entire AGT setup is redesigned like Arctic storm blizzard stage. LED screens show ice shards flying like bullets. Lighting programmers create this ice chamber vibe like a Nord cinematic boss fight in AAA video game. 2 sisters walk out like calm storm narrators. They look more confident now. They don't look like kids lost in Hollywood anymore. They look like world-class classical assassins. They breathe together. They enter. The first notes slice the air like a blade made of frozen steel. The audience instantly feels this is different. This is not copy-paste first audition again. This is upgraded canon tier. Then the transition moment hits. Suddenly small kulintang percussion layered inside the winter theme. And the shock hits the entire room like a spiritual earthquake. The judges literally gasp. The audience cannot understand how it feels so natural, so cinematic, so right. Like earth and snow are shaking hands inside a cathedral. The sisters are not performing to impress anymore, they are performing to declare new classical language. They finish. There is this 1-second silent vacuum that feels like a universal pause. And then the entire theater detonates into screaming noise. Heidi covers her mouth. Sophia says, "Oh my God," at least 5 times. Howie stands immediately. And Simon does not even hesitate. He stands up, takes a deep breath, looks at the girls, and slams the golden buzzer override in semi-finals. Gold mixes with snow blizzard on stage. The sisters stand frozen crying as gold falls like divine miracle. And America at that moment becomes obsessed forever. After the semi-final golden buzzer override, the sisters become the biggest conversation piece in American mainstream culture overnight. Not pop. Not belting. Not meme 20-second viral chaos. This was actual high art suddenly becoming viral like K-pop. Newsrooms, professors, classical historians, composers, YouTube music theory breakdown channels, anime soundtrack influencers, film scoring communities, all start breaking down why this was so insane musically. New York Times runs a headline that says, "2 Filipino sisters just modernized Vivaldi on primetime American TV." NPR does an interview with a European conductor saying he has not felt this level of precision emotionality in teenagers in over 25 years. Even Hollywood composers DM AGT producers saying they want to meet these girls for potential movie score work in the future. The girls don't even understand how big this is yet. They are still just practicing like nothing is guaranteed. They go to Jimmy Fallon late night. They perform 45 seconds of the winter kulintang hybrid live while snow falls down on the Tonight Show studio floor. Fallon looks stunned. The clip hits 19M overnight. Every Filipino OFW around the world stays awake entire night watching TikTok rewatches like a unifying national event. It becomes cultural pride. Because Filipinos have always been top singers, but classical prestige representation like this on the highest American stage felt different. It felt like Filipinos finally got to show another lane of world-class talent that nobody globally expected before. Then the AGT finale pressure becomes insane. America votes like crazy. Everyone assumes the finale piece will be another hybrid, another shock twist, another epic cinematic thunderstorm arrangement. But the sisters do the exact opposite. They decide finale should be small, raw, bare, slow, emotional, pure, no fireworks, no storm, no heavy kulintang. They want to show the most difficult discipline, silence control. It is easy to impress with 1 million notes. It is mastery to destroy hearts with one slow sustained note. So for finale, they choose the winter final movement but slower, more exposed, more heartbreak tone. They want America to feel what winter actually is: stillness, loneliness, breath fog, memory pain, distance, waiting, longing. In rehearsal, Simon watches 30 seconds of this reduced stripped version and he whispers to producers, "This might be the greatest final decision I've ever seen in this show." Final night arrives. Stage is almost empty. Light is soft pale blue like moon over frozen lake. They walk out slowly. They hold their bows like they're holding grief. The first long slow note feels like time stops. The audience becomes fully silent not because they are bored, but because they are terrified to even breathe wrong and ruin the purity. Tears immediately start forming in multiple judge eyes. The slow movement feels like hearing your soul talk inside your chest. Cameras cut to people in audience crying silently. They end the piece with the softest bow lift of the entire season. No huge attack, no Hollywood punctuation, just silence. And that is what breaks America the hardest. When judges talk, Howie literally has tears coming down while speaking. Sophia says she feels like she is in a movie that will play for 50 years. Heidi cannot talk for the first 8 seconds. And Simon says in the calmest, most sincere quiet tone he has ever used on AGT, "You two didn't just win tonight. You changed classical music forever." Votes close. When the host announces winners, the whole arena explodes. Confetti gold snow falls. The two sisters collapse in each other's arms shaking and crying harder than any AGT winner in recent memory. Mama runs on stage and they all hug in the middle with gold blizzard falling like divine approval. Two poor Filipino Prodigy sisters from Cavite win AGT 2025, with Vivaldi.